Have you captured some incredible moment in nature or photographing wildlife just to come home and see that the image is soft or it's blurry? It's so heartbreaking. I know, I've been there. Today, I'm going to share with you 4 tips that I use in the toughest conditions and still land up with razor sharp images. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to capture tack-sharp images with confidence and never look back. The last tip only makes sense after you have mastered the ones I've mentioned before. So stick around till the end. Okay, tip number 1, shutter speed and focal length. A simple rule on that is to double up your focal length. If you're shooting with a 600mm lens, then you're going to take your shutter speed to 1200 of a second. If you're shooting with a 400 lens, take it up to 800. If you're shooting with a 50, take it up to 100, so on and so forth. But remember, this is just your base shutter speed. If your subject is moving and it's moving fast, to ensure sharpness, you will need to triple up your focal length. If it is 400, then you're going to do 1200 of a second. If it is 600, you're going to do 1800 of a second. That will give you super sharp images all over. But a little bit of motion blur can be really helpful in drawing the viewer's eye. If you're shooting a bird when they're moving their wings, I like the tips to be just a tad bit blurry. And of course, I want the eyes to be sharp, but the reason why I want the wings to be a little bit blurry is because it adds motion. It works on the audience subconsciously. Or if I'm shooting a horse, or if I'm shooting a wolf, or if I'm shooting an animal that's running, if it's giving me tack sharp at 1200th of a second, then I will drop it down to 1000th of a second just to get that little movement on the legs or on the part that's moving really fast, but still keeping the eye super sharp. Sharpness is very important. You want to have sharp images. Where your sharpness is a choice that you make as an artist. I like my images to be super sharp in the eye, and the rest of it I kind of let go, and I do add movement so it flows better. So we feel the movement. We don't think it, sometimes we may not see it, but we will feel it as humans. Okay, so that is my tip number 1. Focal length and shutter speed relationship helps. Let's move on to number 2. The smallest focus point your camera can allow, you have to use that. Because if you use a large focusing box and your camera is deciding where and what to choose within that large focusing box, the camera may decide wrong. You are spending all this money and you are traveling God knows where, putting in all this effort, the time, the energy, and so on and so forth. And then you're going to let the camera decide where the focus should be? No. Use the smallest point so you are in control. Don't use a big box because you may want the focus to be on the eye, but the camera will decide to put it on the nose. Depends on the contrast, right? Because it doesn't know what an eye is and it doesn't know what a nose is. It only detects all of that by the algorithms of contrast. The cameras have become super amazing. The technology is great, but there's always a chance of that 0.0001% of it not to detect the eye and focus on the nose or focus on the cheek. You don't want to take a chance. So my suggestion would be smallest focusing point, and then you go and put the focusing point where you want it. So if you want the focusing point on the eye, you do the focusing point on the eye. So now you're going to turn around and say to me, it's very difficult. Yes, of course it's difficult, but do we want everything to be easy? Point number 4, at the end of this video, I'm going to go over just that, how to place the point on a animal's eye and track it. Point number 2, I'm going to recap it one more time. Use the smallest focusing point. Don't use a big box and let the camera decide for you. I know cameras these days, you can detect the eye within the entire frame, or you can choose a smaller box and you can allow the camera to detect the eye within that frame, or you can choose the super small and don't let the camera decide anything. do it yourself. Tip number 3, you must turn on the stabilizing mode on your lens. I can't tell you how many times I've come across photographers, professional photographers who are selling the images, but when I meet them and I talk to them in the field, they're like, we forgot to turn on the stabilizing mode. And I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, just forgot. Or the answer will be, I don't know how it works. Lens manufacturer is creating a manual. In that manual, it gives you everything you need to know about the lens. Make sure that you read it and then go use that information to get better images for yourself. The other part to that is know which option to be on. Canon, Sony, Nikon, they will have 3 options to it. The first option is for hand holding your camera. It stabilizes on your tilt move and your pan move if you are moving or if the subject is moving. That will help you stabilize in all different axes. There is another option where it will stabilize just the pan and not the tilt. And then there is another option where it will stabilize just the tilt and not the pan. The key here is to know how your animal moves. Normally when I'm shooting a horse, the horse is going this way. It very seldom goes this way, right? So you got to figure out whether you are going to handhold it or whether you're going to be on a tripod. And the reason why you need to figure that and why you need to put these modes on properly is because if you put it on a mode that is going to stabilize the other axes that you want. So if you are wanting the lens to stabilize on your tilt mode and you put it on the pan mode, then it's going to get you soft images because it's fighting against your information and vice versa. So please read the manual. It's very simple. They make it very, very simple. They tell you put it on option number 2 and it's going to stabilize your tilt. Put it on option number 3, it's going to stabilize your pan. Option number 1 is if you're hand holding it. And that is so important because I don't know if you guys have ever felt this, but while you are holding the lens, you can feel sometimes the movement inside the lens. And what that is all the motors working for you to stabilize your image. So read your manual. It's not difficult to understand. It's very, very easy. But turn on these switches. 1. Number 2, turn on to the right option. Alright guys, so point number 4. This is the Holy Grail of sharp images. You take care of point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, and you are in amazing hands. But this is going to put you onto a total different level. I am going to split this into 3 different parts. Part number 1, you must know where your animal is coming into your frame, from the right side or from the left side. Part number 2, you must have an approximate idea of how tall your animal is or where does your animal's eye reach in your frame. Part number 3, figure out how fast does this animal move. If you're going to say to me, hey Ejaz, you're going to go photograph a horse, I know how fast the horse is going to move, unless I'm photographing horses that don't move at all, they're just grazing. If you're photographing birds, split of a second because they're just going to take off, right? You don't know. So you know that your reactions have to be super fast. So all these things you got to keep in mind. In point number 4, my goal is to show you how to use the smallest focusing point and come home with tack-sharp images. The main way of doing that is not to depend so much on your reflexes. So try to get all this information in your brain so you approximately know what's going to happen. So let's get into where your animal is coming in from. Say your animal enters your frame from the left side. Where are you going to put your focusing point? You cannot put it on the left side because if you do put it on the left side, you will not have any room to maneuver. And then you're going to try and get the entire body in and move your camera, and then you'll have to move the focusing point again to the right hand side. What I do is I take my focusing point and I keep it on the right side of the center. How much right side of the center depends on the animal, depends on the size of the animal, and so on and so forth. And what that does is it makes the image airy because you are going to put the right side of your frame onto the animal's eye, right? So you're going to keep it this way. What is this doing? This is giving you extra room in front of the animal's face, which makes the image airy, which makes the audience love it. If you did the opposite and you put the animal's face all the way to the end, it feels uncomfortable. If the animal is coming from the left-hand side, go and put your focusing point on your right-hand side from the middle. Okay, if you want to go closer to the right side, that's totally up to you. I'd like to keep my focusing point towards the right middle, and that helps me pan and it gives me time to track. And I think that is so important because had I kept the focusing point to the left hand side, I would not have enough room to track the animal within my frame. You have to know where animal is coming from so you can place your focusing point on the right side or on the middle left or on the middle right. The second thing is that you need to know the height of the animal in your frame. If you put your point towards the bottom and the animal shows up on top, you'll have to try and switch that. It's not going to automatically jump and get the eye because it's not. It's a small point. You need to place the point on the animal's eye so it can start to track the animal. I normally determine the height, and if it's sitting all the way on top, or if it's sitting all the way to the bottom, I don't normally follow that. I will say, okay, it's going to sit all the way on top, but let me move it down a little bit. Or if it's going to sit all the way at the bottom, let me move it up a little bit. Just because I need to make sure that I have enough room for composition, right? It needs to sit correctly. So later on, if I crop the image, I get it exactly where I want it to be. Number 3, you are not faster than the animal. Impossible. So you need to know how fast this animal is going to move, because if the animal is going to move super fast, you need to be prepared because you are working on reaction, right? Your reflexes. If you don't work on your reflexes and you work on prediction, that will be better. So if you know how fast your animal is going to move, then you can get to the spot it's going to get to 2 seconds earlier or a second earlier. And you're always ahead of the animal because you are not working in a reactive mode. You know your animal's speed and you're going to place the point there and you're saying, okay, it's going to come there in a second. Boom, press the shutter speed. The other thing I have to tell you from point number 1 is do not press your shutter and don't take photographs until you have tracked the animal for X amount of time. What I'm trying to say here is once the animal enters and you put the point on the animal's face, don't press the shutter speed. Please don't do that. Wait till it hits the right composition where you want it to be and then press it. Don't spray and pray. It's the worst thing you can ever do because then you're not creating, you are capturing. All right, guys, so let's recap. Tip number 1, the relationship between the focal length and your shutter speed. Double it. If you want sharp images, double it. If you want tack-sharp images, triple it, and then bring the movement in by dropping it a little bit. Point number 2, make sure that you're using the smallest focusing point on your camera. That will ensure you sharp images. Point number 3, make sure that you have turned on the stabilizing mode on your camera and you have put the switch on the right option. Handheld, pan stabilizing, or tilt stabilizing. Tip number 4, the holy grail of focusing properly. Make sure that you know where your animal is entering into the frame. Number 2, make sure the height of the animal. Number 3, know the speed of your animal. These 4 tips will get you the sharpest images possible ever. No matter if it is snowing, no matter if it is windy, no matter if there's a storm, no matter what is happening, I get tack-sharp images with the smallest point and doing all the things that I've explained here in this video. I hope you guys use this and I hope you come back with razor-sharp images. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.